Now, no one can accuse me of not taking things to the extreme. Go big or go home, right? Since I was purchasing my MiniMOD modules as used on Reverb, I did want to get some additional functionality to go along with the base Model D auxiliary modules, as I call them, because they are not part of the base Model D, but are absolutely amazing sonic sculpting devices to add to any modular setup, not just MiniMOD. So let's go over those now. Starting with precision voltages. From the AJHSynth website, there is a reminder about the importance of control voltage and specifically volt per octave and how it works with this established standard. 1 volt equals 1 octave, and controlling that voltage precisely is what keeps your modular in tune. Enter precision voltages as a module that can act as a very precise voltage source, or what they refer to as a voltage adder, the latter being circuitry that can add X volts to an incoming signal and offset it. Yet it offsets it perfectly, thus staying in tune with the rest of your sound sources. So what is an adder, you might ask? Imagine you have a voltage signal coming in from a controller and that voltage is 1 volt. Hold on a minute. Let me actually show this. Let me wire something up to show this. I'm going to come into data over here, which is why I'm running camera 2 over here, so you can see data's numbers a little better. So what is an adder, you might ask? Imagine you have a voltage signal coming from somewhere that is, the voltage is 1 volt. So you can see that on data here, 1 volt. If you switch your precision voltage module to add 7, the resulting voltage will now be 1.58 volts, or 7 semitones, resulting in that perfect 5th offset. So let's raise some volumes here. We got some volumes. Let's just use oscillator 1 and 2 for right now. Now I'm going to take this offset, this by 7, and I'm going to put it into oscillator number 2. So both oscillators are set right now at 32 foot, so they're pretty low. But I have the second oscillator being offset by 7 semitones, which is a perfect 5th. There's our lovely power chord. I now have the key step going into the CV in here, so the oscillators listening on the bus can hear the pitch change. And now I took a CV out of glide and put it into the A in of precision voltages. So now when I change my keyboard pitch, it's keeping it at a 5th here, or 7 semitones. And then I can change that. That was a pretty terrible demo, but trust me, it actually does get pretty musical. And in fact, I'm going to point you to a video up here to go watch of the guy who actually is an expert at this. It's a guy named DreamsOfWires. I think his name is Wayne. He does most of the AJHSynth demonstrations that I've seen and makes absolutely beautiful music with this instrument. So check out this particular piece of music. I think it's called Miserere or something. Beautiful, and he uses precision voltages to change his chord structures during this song that he created. It's absolutely beautiful. I hope to someday be that good at it, but I'm not. So today I'm not. So instead we're gonna go to the one thing I am good at, and that's shooting my mouth off. Let's go talk about the module here. So let's go over the controls and the I/O. First, the inputs. As I've hinted to before, there are 2 circuits in this one module, a channel A and a channel B. Putting a voltage source into A, you can see in the jack section that in A will flow to out A. And of course, same with B. B in, B out. However, there is also a switch that could be a sum of both A and B, or just raw A, or the sum of A minus B. So keep in mind, what we're doing here is we're adding or subtracting voltages together. So if you put in 2 1-volt sources, there'll be 2 volts when it comes out. So there's a third resulting calculation, an out A, an out B, and an out sum of A and B. Amazingly, we haven't even gotten to the voltage generator options yet. Further, if nothing is patched into neither A nor B, precision voltages will still behave as a voltage source, meaning it will still output the octave and note values that we'll discuss in a moment, but they will not be based on incoming A and B voltages, which is fine in most circumstances, I suppose. Nothing changes whether you have something in here or not. It's what's coming out is based on these knobs and these switches and their configuration. So I believe the only difference in patching your pitch voltage in is that precision voltage itself will be a voltage stabilizer. So if your incoming pitches are weak or warbly, precision voltages will fix that before sending the pitch on to its final destination. Maybe. Down here is a gate A jack. This option, while neat, seems almost like an afterthought since it can only affect the A channel of the module. But what it does is accept a gate signal, 0 to 5 volt. When the gate is low, 0 volts, the module disables any octave or note offsets that are set. When that gate signal is applied, positive voltage, the octave or note offsets are applied. So it's kind of like turning on and off the module, basically using this gate switch. But only on output A. Output B is unaffected by this. I suppose that could be useful for offsetting incoming signals or just one set of pitches and not the entire sound. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around what use that would be. There's a calibration jack here, and I have no experience with this option, but according to the manual and the website, you can use precision voltages, incredibly precise voltage sources, to calibrate other modules in your system, should you need to. I'll have to refer you to the manual for this one because I cannot speak intelligently at all about calibration in modular synthesis. Most of my stuff just works so far, knock on plastic. Heading to the top of the module, you'll find a knob labeled octave with a clicky range of 0 to 10 volts, 1 volt being 1 octave. To the left are 2 switches that are labeled A+, A-, B+, and B-, with the center position disabling any octave offsets by the knob. Let's put the A circuit into A+ mode and turn up the octave knob a bit. So what we have right now is we have oscillator 1 sitting at 16 feet. It's got a cable coming in from data, which is essentially just routing through what is in A out here. And now up here on the module, I'm going to take this switch, I'm going to flip it to A+, and then I'm going to turn this knob, the octave knob, up 1. So watch here on data, you can also see the voltage raising. Pretty precise, stays in tune beautifully. So if I switch this back to the center position on the A+ switch, now I turn the knob and nothing changes because it's set to not do anything. This is basically disabled. Drop it to A-, and now when I raise the knob, watch the voltage on data and listen to the sound, it goes down. Let me raise this up a couple of octaves so we can hear it. So I think you get the idea of what the plus and minus switches do. And then there's 2 of them. There's one for the A channel, and then there's one for the B channel. And so while A can be up 1 octave, B could be down 1 octave. So that's kind of cool how this is laid out. It's very, very configurable. I like that. So essentially, the range option of this is pretty ridiculous. It goes from from a minus A to a plus A, plus 10 volts to a minus A minus 10 volts. That's a 20 volt peak to peak. That's quite a bit. So it's important to note that voltages being sent out can only affect the destination volt per octave within the range of volt per octave of that module. What I mean by this is, let's say the MiniMOD VCO that has a voltage input range of -7 to +7. That means that at some point, changing the octave above 7 will no longer increase the pitch of the oscillator. In the case of mutable instruments Platts, for example, the volt per octave jack takes -3 to +7 range of voltage, which is 10 volts peak to peak. So in this case, you could only -A3 before Platts stops changing pitches down. But it can go as high as 7 on the A+ before changes are no longer heard. So in short, you have a 20 volt peak to peak available, but it can only reasonably use what the destination module can support. I think that makes sense, even to me. So moving down to the note knob, the same kind of logic can be applied to note, where each note is 1/12 of an octave. For those just getting into sound and music, I'll quickly mention that in the West, over here, we tune things chromatically using the 12-tet or equal temperament scale. That is, 1 octave is 12 semitones. Thus, 1 note is 1/12 of a volt. Simple, right? Well, now let's convert that to voltage. If 1 volt per octave is the eurorack standard, that means 1 volt might be a C2 on a keyboard, 2 volts might be a C3, 5 volts might be a C6, etc. So divide that 1 volt by 12 and you get 0.083 volts per semitone. Are you mind blown yet? It's math. Math is hard. Wait until you have to start trying to convert voltage to frequency values. Anyway, the same principle applies to note as they do to octave. First, notice that the note knob is broken into, you guessed it, 12 positions, 1 through 12. Ta-da! We have the same switch selectors, plus A, neutral, do nothing, and minus A, and of course the same for the B channel. So I've set something up real quick. I've tuned both of these oscillators to the same note, and we're going to mess with B channel, but I'm going to switch this to B plus. You can see that it went up 1 octave because it's set to 1. See over here on data, the blue trace is now up to 1. If I go up another one, 2, 3, you can see how that's working. Now if you watch me over here on data, so that's 0 volts, that's going to be plus 2 volts, this is 0 volts, and then this is going to be minus 2 volts. So now I'm going to leave this set at 0. I don't want this to change the volts or the pitch at all of the 2 oscillators, leave them both the same. But now I'm going to come over here to the notes now and change something. I'm going to go up to that perfect fifth of, so I'm going to set this to 7. Then I'm going to add those 7 semitones to B. And now once again we have our perfect fifth. So anyway, you were able to hear the pitches changing because I'm just using voltage. I'm not even using pitch in. I'm just sending voltages out of the module. So it's doing its job just fine, just being drones. I mean, it would be great to do drones without having to manually tune things, but manually tuning them if they're drones works just fine as well. So in conclusion of that, the interesting thing that I did find out about this module is that while there is only 1 octave or note knob for both A and B channels, both A and B can be plus or minus depending on the switch settings, which can be quite musical if you're actively moving things around while your tune is playing. So once again, check out the video by DreamsOfWires. And that's precision voltages. We're going to move on now because I'm taking way too long talking about these things. Let's speed it up a little.